Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Gete. Our headlines. President Goodluck Jonathan congratulates the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari over victory on polls. Also in this program, INEC Chairman Tahiru Jaga debunks allegations by former ministers Godday Orubebe of partisanship in presidential results collation. Nigerians celebrate APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari victory at polls ahead INEC's official announcement. Outside Nigeria, nuclear talks between 6 world powers and Iran likely to linger. Good to have you. Stay tuned with us now. Details of the headlines and other stories. President Goodluck Jonathan has congratulated the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, on his victory in Saturday's election. President Jonathan made a telephone call to Buhari at about 5:15 p.m., during which he assured him of maximum cooperation and smooth transition. Former head of state Abdul Salami Abubakar has hailed President Goodluck Jonathan as a statesman for conceding defeat even before the conclusion of collation of results. General Abubakar, who also heads the National Peace Committee, spoke with journalists shortly after a closed-door meeting with the president at the State House, Abuja. He explained that he was in the middle of a meeting with international observers when the president-elect informed him that President Jonathan had conceded defeat. The former head of state noted that members of the committee then decided to meet the president to thank him for putting national interest above self.
The election has been very peaceful, despite the hitches and there. At the end of the election, at the counting, there are a lot of upheavals that have happened, but thankfully they have been contained. We were at the middle of a meeting with the international observers to try to see how we can still water the tension down. When gladly I called General Buhari, we were going to see him, he told me Mr. President has called him at about 5:15 and congratulated him and conceded defeat. We were spellbound. And the reason we have come here is to thank President Jonathan for this statesmanship. In the history of Nigeria, I think this is the first time where a contestant has called his rival to congratulate him. And through this point, President Jonathan has always maintained a point that the blood of Nigeria is not worth his presidency. And by his action, he has proved that. He has proved that he is a man of his words, because during our interaction on this peace committee, he has always maintained he is going to accept the result of the election whichever way it has done.
Representatives of the All Progressives Congress at the National Coalition Center are convinced that Nigerians are in the right hand with the election of Muhammadu Buhari as president. Olorunnibe Mamura and Hakim Baba Ahmed
Oh,
said this
naturally, I
in
should be
reaction
excited
to the
because
party's
already I
victory
know that
in
our
Saturday's
candidate.
presidential election. The national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Bashir Yusuf, expressed a similar sentiment at the Coalition Center in Abuja.
Already, I know that our candidate, General Muhammadu Buhari, has won. And of course, that's the source of that excitement. And of course, you probably overheard me say that I spoke with our presidential candidate, General Muhammadu Buhari himself, because I got a wind of an information to the effect that President Jonathan has already called him to congratulate him. So, but I didn't want to take it like that. I decided to put a call across to him, and he confirmed to me that, in fact and indeed, at about 5:15 this evening, President Jonathan called him to congratulate him. So, and I think President Jonathan deserves to be commended for that show of gallantry, a show of exhibition of maturity, and of course sportsmanship. And I think he deserves to be commended for all that.
Well, I think it's a good omen for the country. So it's good for democracy and good for Nigeria that this has happened, or this is about to happen, because officially the results are not yet conclusive, maybe within the next couple of hours.
We are excited and we are humbled by the responsibility that is being placed on the shoulders of General Buhari and our party. This is a tremendous challenge. It's a challenge first before a victory, because Nigerians have spoken for once since 1999. Their voices are being heard. They have made a resounding demand for change.
Following the announcement of the presidential elections result, Bukola Saraki and Iola Oyedepo has reacted to the victory of Muhammadu Buhari, saying the result is a true reflection of the people's wish. They want to say the era of federal might is gone, as new democratic history is welcomed in the country.
For Nigerians, the victory is to be able to vote out a sitting government, so that even those that are coming in like us will sit up, because we know that the people have the power to vote us in or vote us out. So I think we'll do our best and double our efforts to show that we can even perform better.
People in government, politicians, will no more take electorates for granted in Nigeria. So if you don't perform, electorate will wait for you at the end of the 4 years. They will just kick you out with their votes. And that development is very good for democracy in Nigeria.
The president-elect Muhammadu Buhari has issued an interim message of thanks and gratitude to Nigerians for choosing him and his party over President Goodluck Jonathan and the People's Democratic Party. He also urged his supporters to be cautious and exercise restraint while celebrating his victory. This was after APC declared victory after President Jonathan called Buhari at 5:15 p.m. to make a concession and congratulate the winner. The statements issued on his behalf this evening by the spokesman of the Presidential Campaign Council, Garba Shehu, said the mood of the country, as well as its current state, did not warrant the type of wild celebrations reportedly going on in some cities across the country. He added that said anybody happy with APC's victory in the presidential election will not be involved in the molestation of opponents or the destruction of their property. As the Independent National Electoral Commission begins a final collation of results, the Presidential Campaign Office of the All Progressives Congress is wearing a new look. The two-story complex has been decorated in anticipation of the announcement of the party's candidate, Muhammadu Buhari, as the winner of the presidential election.
Nigerians are giving General Buhari a landslide. Decorations are on, is reflecting the mood of the nation, not just the mood within the campaign office.
Representatives of the People's Democratic Party temporarily disrupted the collation of results of Saturday's presidential election. Led by former Niger Delta Minister Godsday Orubebe, they accused the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Tahiru Jaga, of bias and manipulating the process in favor of the All Progressives Congress. PDP's main agent specifically claimed that the INEC chairman turned down a petition for the PDP on alleged electoral fraud, but was keen on probing APC's claim in Rivers State. For several minutes, Rubebe refused to allow the commission to continue the collation exercise until Jaga explained that his office did not receive any formal petition from the ruling party. He revealed that one of the PDP's representatives, Bello Fadile, approached him through his aide with a petition at the collation center, but was told to submit it at the INEC headquarters. This, he pointed out, had not been done as at Tuesday morning.
To his office and send a committee to Kano. Jaga has nothing to reply here. He did not come to this place to reply to us about River State before he took her. Let him go to his office. Please. We will not live here.
Please, may I respond?
You cannot respond here. You cannot respond here. You cannot respond here. You cannot respond here. You didn't come here to respond on the issue of River State. You cannot respond here.
As the nation awaits the announcement of the winner of Saturday's presidential election, the Lagos PDP is calling for the cancellation of the results recorded in Lagos. Oluwaseyi Adegoke has details in this report.
To the Lagos State's PDP chairman, Tunji Shele, figures were brazenly manufactured to favor APC.
Virtually everywhere we have won a clear and verifiable victory. The presiding INEC officials openly colluded with the APC to sabotage and deny PDP candidates the desired victory. Among the local government areas where anomalies were recorded are Badagry, Ekpe, Etiosa, Apapa, Shomolu, and Alimosho local government areas.
Ballot boxes were not accounted for in some polling booths.
In Lagos Island, for example, 10,000 votes were added to the overall votes recorded by APC. We have not claimed that we won in Lagos Island, but the results were manipulated and 10,000 additional votes were added. Ballot boxes were not accounted for in some polling booths, and results were declared. A lot of voters were denied the opportunity to vote, and voting was unnecessarily delayed to allow for manipulation of results.
For Nigeria's democracy to survive, Lagos PDP seem to have a solution.
For our nation to take our proper place in the country of nations, in the community of nations, we must rededicate ourselves to a sense of fairness, to truth and justice in all our affairs.
The party demands immediate justice and prompt cancellation of the APC victory and restore all genuine results. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
It's CoreTV Primetime News. Nigerians rejoice over APC presidential candidate's victory. We'll bring you details after the break. Stay with us.
Morning, Mr. President. Morning, sir. How are you, Mr. President? Hi, Mr. How is the campaign? How are you?
We must learn to live together as brothers, or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Welcome back. Thanks for still staying on with us. Now, if you've just joined us, a recap of our major headlines. President Goodluck Jonathan congratulates All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Muhammad Buhari over victory on polls. INEC Chairman Tahiru Jagadabong's allegations by former Minister Godde Urubebe of partisanship and presidential results collation. Nigerians celebrate APC presidential candidate Muhammad Buhari's victory at polls, even as INEC ahead INEC's official announcement. Don't forget that you can catch us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV Live Space News. Supporters of President-elect Muhammad Buhari have been separating on the streets of the Nigerian capital as soon as President Goodluck Jonathan conceded defeat. They besieged the campaign office of the All Progressives Congress, chanting slogans and waving the party's symbol. But security operatives were on hand to ensure an orderly celebration in and around the premises of the APC presidential campaign office to forestall any breakdown of law and order. And here in Lagos, the hitherto unusually quiet streets of Lagos has come alive with celebrations following the reported victory of Muhammad Buhari in the presidential elections. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, who was on the street of Lagos, has more in this report.
Reported victory of Muhammad Buhari, many people have hit the streets in celebration at the momentous victory of the man described by many as the people's general. One of them spoke to CoreTV News on their impression of the reported victory.
We call it celebration, only celebration day. We don't declare 3 days. We don't declare 3 days for celebration. No eating food, no go, no bomb, no anything, just play.
While some see him as a northern candidate, the participation of these non-northerners in the celebration shows that it is a Nigerian thing. While the celebration continues, they also prayed that his tenure will bring peace and prosperity to Nigeria. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
As President Goodluck Jonathan takes the lead in congratulating Muhammadu Buhari, the APC presidential candidate, on his victory at the presidential polls, even while the result is yet to be officially announced, Nigerians have followed the president's footsteps. Osun State residents are in a carnival-like jubilation as they welcome the results, praising INEC and expressing their expectations. Streets across Osogbo went agog as the chant of Sai Buhari now rent the air across the Osun State capital, Osogbo.
To us, to Nigerians, to Muhammadu Buhari, and even to the entire world, because the entire world knows what Nigeria is facing in terms of insurgency or insecurity, and so on and so forth.
We are thank God because Nigeria go better, Nigeria go change. Everything go there normal.
The result is very, very okay, and it's very, very good for we that we are watching what is going on in Nigeria, and we are very pleased with it. We thank the INEC for what they have done today, because we don't expect it, but they have really shown that they are not part to rigging.
As residents of Kaduna await the official announcement of the winner of Saturday's presidential elections, hundreds of them took to the streets in wild jubilations in anticipation of victory for the All Progressives Congress Party candidate Muhammadu Buhari. Prior to this afternoon, residents of the state have been on a self-imposed curfew due to the fear of violence which might occur after the announcement of the results. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has urged Lagosians and Lagos State workers to remain calm and disregard any information from social media implying panic in the state following the outcome of the presidential election results. Fashola made this call as state workers were seen fleeing their offices following the panic created by the social media platform. He insists that it has nothing and it was not the tradition of Lagos State to disseminate information via social media platform.
I must commend Lagosians for conducting themselves peacefully over the last 72 hours or thereabouts. The state is safe. Residents should remain calm, and if there is any cause for concern, I will be the first person to let you know. But go about your duties lawfully, and there is no cause to fear.
The outcome of the just concluded presidential election in Oyo State have been trailed with mixed reactions from politicians and the electorate who turned out in large numbers at the poll to make a future-defining decision for the country. While stalwarts of the People's Democratic Party and Accord condemned the election of accusing the ruling party of rigging the election in their favor, also residents of Oyo, including election observers, disregard saying the election was transparently conducted, ordering that the democracy of the country would be upheld if such conduct were replicated at the forthcoming governorship election. Omotayo Alo has more in this report.
Of Oyo decides who takes the mantle of leadership. It was exemplary as residents conducted themselves peacefully and patiently to cast their votes despite issues with the electronic card reader at some polling units. The results, which we announced, had the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress winner, pulling majority of the votes in Oyo by the state coalition officer, Abayomi Salami.
APC, 528,620 votes. PDP, 303,376 votes.
Though with an expression of displeasure at the outcome, the PDP party agent Wasiu Maya declined to make comment.
I don't have anything to say, I'm sorry.
For all the party agents and an election observer from Cross River, it was a satisfactory result and a transparent process.
I witnessed the coalitions and there was transparency, and so we were not debarred from asking questions that we're supposed to ask as agents. So it's a welcome result.
It's fair, it's accepted by me and by my party.
A change can only come when you are willing to also put up that change, and that is what the people of Oyo have decided. which I'm grateful for what I've seen.
Down to the electorate, they say the results of the election is acceptable and are pleased with the absence of violence at the poll. They, however, state their expectations on who emerges Nigeria's next president.
If corruption is out, if corruption is dead, that means everything will be all right for us in this country, especially in this Oyo state as well.
Electricity, water, good roads, everything, you know, this country can feel it all around. There's so many things we are lacking of, so we just need changes in all aspects.
For these residents, the governorship election in the state remains a matter of concern to them as they call on INEC to sustain their credibility in the coming poll.
The man in what for us to be in your states, because he has him debate, man, who is going to do our states well.
People really vote for Buhari. So people really vote for Buhari, but we have five big men that want to contest for coming election. A person of Accord, Ladoja, but in Oyo State, I think we prefer Ladoja. It's because of Buhari that is give them the opportunity to win the all senatorial district and federal honorable.
As Nigeria decides in 2015, the race to the top remains a matter of concern to politicians, as the electorate are left to serve as umpires to choose a candidate that truly deserves their mandate. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Ibadan.
It's CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take another break and return with business and stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back now to business. Central Bank of Nigeria's economic report for January 2015 released states that Nigeria's earnings from non-oil exports declined by 24% month to month to $767.54 million in January 2015, a situation reflecting the 89.7% fall in export receipt from the manufacturing sector. Data available on the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) website have shown that growth in the country's manufacturing sector declined to 19.2% in the corresponding period of 2013, with factors responsible to poor electricity supply coupled with high input cost occasioned by depreciation. Profits from industrials stood at $658.52 million, manufacturing $36.75 million, agriculture $61.99 million, food product $5.42 million, and mineral subsectors at $4.86 million, respectively. The transport sector recorded no receipt. Federally collected revenue gross in January 2015 at 710.78 billion naira was above the receipts in the preceding month and the corresponding period of 2014. Non-oil exports fell 18% to $2.543 billion in 2014 from $2.97 billion recorded by the end of 2013. Export of leather, skin and hides declined to $488 billion from $531.3 million by the end in 2014. Data from the central bank showed Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves fell by 4% to $29.81 billion from $31.06 billion by March 27th. And now time to join Sabina Izoku for Stock Market Report. We do apologize, we cannot bring you our Sabina's report immediately. We continue with stories outside Nigeria. Nuclear talks between 6 world powers and Iran could go on past a midnight deadline, U.S. officials say. Representatives are reportedly preparing to issue a general statement focusing on points of agreement which would be enough to allow for a new phase of talks on a comprehensive deal. But there is no sign that the most contentious issues have been resolved. The world powers want to restrict Iran's nuclear program in return for relief from crippling sanctions. The so-called P5+1, the US, UK, France, China and Russia, plus Germany are seeking to ensure Iran could not assemble a nuclear weapon in less than a year. The foreign ministers met several times at Lucen's Revert Palace Hotel on Tuesday morning in a high-level push to meet the self-imposed deadline to agree a political framework agreement by the end of the day. Russia's top diplomat Sergei Lavrov announced that prospects were very good and promising and says he was returning to the Turks after leaving for another engagement on Monday. It's CoreTV Primetime News. The reports reaching us say Abuja, it's time to join Abuja to hear conclusions of the report, the results. Just stay with us. Well, just before we take you to Abuja, let's wrap off this news, a recap of our major headlines. Former ministers Guts De Urubebe of partisanship in presidential results collection. Nigerians celebrate APC presidential candidate Muhammad Buhari's victory at polls ahead INEC's official announcement. And that's our news for tonight. Thank you so much for staying on with us. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gete. Have a lovely night rest. We now join Abuja. Stay with us.